What's up, Blue Hedgehog Nation? Before you watch today's episode of the IMSA Podcast, I first off want to sincerely apologize for the delay of this show. I've had so many things going on of late that has been bothering me a lot, and trying to get special events done, and also trying to get the PCS array done, which I finally got that done as I'm recording this little piece of announcement before you watch the show. I think that I forgot to record this in advance. It really hurts. So I do apologize for not getting an episode out, and I'm going to make sure, future reference, I could write a little note, say, hey, you need to do the show and all that, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, yeah. So with that being said, please enjoy the IMSA Podcast. I will talk to you all later on today. Bye-bye for now. This is the PCS Array Radio Network and the Blue Hedgehog TV. We now interrupt your regular scheduled programming for the following sports special. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the International Motorsports Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast, retransmission or other dissemination, or the use of this broadcast, descriptions or accounts of this show without the express written consent of the International Motorsports Association is prohibited. On the PCS Array Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Welcome to the IMSA Podcast presented by Toyota. Now at the call of today's show, here's the voice of the PCS Array, Daniel Voiles. First of all, I do want to apologize for not having an episode out for this, but shit happens. So welcome everybody to a solo edition of the IMSA Podcast. Daniel Voiles here. Recording this at around 2:30 in the morning. There you go. So, yeah, we're going to, I don't know why I said we. I'm going to just tell you, go through the results of the Acura Sports Car Challenge presented by TLX Type S that took place on May 16th, which was like several weeks ago, which I should have done this show back in May, but oh well, shit happens. Anyway. But the Daytona prototypes, we had only 6 finishers, and they all finished in the top 6. Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque were the winners in that regard, so congratulations to the Acura team. Felipe Nasser, Pippo Durrani second, Oliver Jarvis, Harry Tinkle third, Luke Duvall, Tristan Valtier fourth, Kevin Magnussen, Ringer van der Zande fifth, Oliver Pla and Dean Cameron completed that group. 6 LMP3s, because they raced this weekend. Felipe Fraga, Gar Robertson, the winner. Rasmus Lindard, Dan Goldberg, second in class. Dylan Murphy, Jim Cox, third. Colin Brown, Jonathan Bennett, Joar Barbosa, Lance Wilsey, fifth. And completing the grid is Oliver Askew, Jarrett Andretti. For GT Daytona, we had Bill Overland, Robert Foley, the winner. Zach Veach, Frankie Montecalvo second, Brian Sellers, Madison Snow third, Ross Gunn, Roman DeAngelis fourth, Mario Fahnbacher, Jeff Kingsley fifth, Laurent Vandhout and Zachary Robichon sixth, Jeff Westphal and Richard Heisten seventh, Mark Miller and Till Bachtosheimer finished eighth. Yeah, I took it slowly instead of rushing it. Andy Lally, John Potter ninth, Dan Morad and Michael De Quesada completed the top 10. We had Catherine Rigg, Rob Fragoli 11, Patrick Long, Ryan Hardwick 12, and Jock Hawksworth, Aaron Telez complete the grid. Thoughts? It was good to be back in Mid-Ohio. Of course, that race was canceled due to the COVID-19 situation. So, yeah, it's great to see that Mid-Ohio's back, and of course, they'll be hosting the Xfinity Series for NASCAR for a debrief on that. Check out Triple P later today. To the IMSA news, fans next weekend, which for Detroit, they're coming back to the paddock for the first time since the pandemic happened. Very excited. Jarrett Andretti made his IMSA debut, which is good news to hear.
Announced from Bob Pockris back on May 4th, Penske will field Porsches in the new LMDH category in the FIA World Endurance Championship and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, which will happen in 2023. And, yeah, I haven't seen any other IMSA news. I can see if there's any more newses. Canadian Tire, as I said, was canceled due to the COVID-19. Trying to see if there was anything else. Of course, some of the races have now been changed due to the whole, through the, whatever it's called. Hang on, let me see. Yeah, so we have the, next weekend we have Daytona Prototype International at Belle Isle. We also have the 2 GT classes, which has been a while since Corvette racing is. That race is going to be really exciting. Of course, you know, like what we saw at Mid-Ohio for our third race. Should be a lot of fun, should be exciting, and I think we're in for a good one. Keys to the race, of course, you got to respect the bumps, because it's almost like, Long Beach. Respect the bumps and just take care of the car and all that, because this street circuit is so narrow. It's one of the narrowest street circuits other than Long Beach. So should be interesting, if you know what I mean. So I think, to me, this race is going to be one of those races that makes you want to go, I want to know how it's going to go. So yeah, this normally would have been the last race until the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but because the 24 Hours of Le Mans is not going to be until August, we have a very long gap until our next race, which will be the doubleheader at Watkins Glen. That weekend is to make up for the not only last year's race, but also will make up the event because of the fact that CTMT got canceled. So yeah, it should be interesting. So because of the Canadian quarantine restrictions and all that. So there you go. Of course, that race will use with all classes competing, GT Daytona will score points for the WeatherTech Sprint Cup, which is interesting. So yeah. So that is our next race, which by the way, we'll recap Detroit, we'll preview the 6 hours of the Glen and the other race. So we'll just preview both shows. We're going to preview both Watkins Glen races. That's how we're going to do it. So yeah. Really excited to see how Detroit's going to be for my final thoughts. Hopefully Chevy Corvette continues their momentum like they've been doing so far in the early part of the season, and should be a really entertaining race so far. Here's what's coming up later today. If you're watching the recorded version, right, or the premiere as of right now, we have the doubleheader of Inside the PCS Array, the final ever episode of Inside the PCS Array. We also have Triple P coming up, as we're going to, go over the results of the Charlotte and Indy weekend. I'll explain why later on when you see the stream. Go through the top story news and all that, yada, 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 and we're going to look ahead to Azerbaijan, to Mid-Ohio, which IMSA was already at Mid-Ohio, and Sonoma, which makes its return for the first time since 2019. I find it interesting, the 3 races we're getting ready to preview for Triple P, all of them were canceled due to COVID-19 restrictions. So that's interesting, to say the least. And I'll also mention something about the W Series on Triple P. You'll see that later on today. So we will see you guys on June 5th, 14th is when we will see you again to recap Detroit and preview the two Watkins Glen races. One to make up for last year's event and also to make up for Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. But until then, this is the Individual saying, Boomer Sooner, everybody, and we'll see you on the 14th. Till then, take care, everybody.
On the PCS Array Sports Network from Learfield IMG College, IMSA Podcast has been brought to you by Budweiser, Love's Travel Stops, iHeartMedia, The Oklahoman, Newcastle Casino, Devon Energy, Sonic Drive-Ins, and by Chevrolet. Thanks for joining us for the IMSA Podcast. The preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation on the PCS Array Sports Network. Copyright 2021 by the Pacific Coast Sports Racing Association and the International Motorsports Association Incorporates.